I'm Jack Speer. Former FBI Director James Comey was on Capitol Hill today answering questions from lawmakers for the second time this month. As NPR's Miles Parks reports, Comey criticized Republicans after the closed-door session.
Comey spent more than 6 hours behind closed doors with the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees. Afterward, he called on Republicans to push back against President Trump. Trump has consistently insulted the integrity of the Justice Department since Robert Mueller's investigation began over a year ago.
Republicans used to understand that the actions of a president matter, the words of a president matter, the rule of law matters, and the truth matters.
The interview with Comey was likely the last of a series of interviews by House Republicans into actions taken by the FBI related to its big 2016 investigations. Democrats, who take control of the House in January, have said they don't plan to continue those lines of inquiry. Miles Parks, NPR News, Washington.
Tennessee Republican Lamar Alexander is the first senator to announce he won't run for another term in 2020. As NPR's Scott Detrow explains, Alexander has been in one public position or another for a generation.
Alexander has served 3 terms in the Senate, where he chairs the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. He's earned a reputation as a serious lawmaker focused on governing, the type of politician who has increasingly opted for the exits in recent years as Congress has become increasingly partisan and tribal. Before the Senate, Alexander served as Tennessee governor and education secretary in George H.W. Bush's administration. He ran for president in 1996 and 2000. It will be the second election in a row where Tennessee has an open Republican seat. Last month, Republican Marsha Blackburn easily won election to replace outgoing Senator Bob Corker. Scott Detrow, NPR News, Washington.
British Prime Minister Theresa May now says a postponed vote on Britain's plan to leave the European Union, known as Brexit, will take place the week of January 14th. The vote was supposed to have taken place last week, but May canceled it at the last minute when it became clear lawmakers would resoundingly reject it. And speaking to members of Parliament today, the British Prime Minister said opponents need to sign off on what she says is not a terrible agreement.
I know this is not everyone's perfect deal. It is a compromise.
Targets, events ranging from ongoing U.S.-China trade war to signs of a slowing economy have left investors confused. The Dow closed down 507 points today. This is NPR. Workers at a couple of Amazon distribution centers in Germany are off the job as part of a push towards better working conditions for employees. The work stoppage coming as the busy Christmas shopping season is in full gear. According to German media reports, the strike by workers in both eastern Germany and western Germany began early today. The union representing those workers says Amazon employees are receiving lower wages than their counterparts in other retail and mail-order jobs in Germany. ABC's canceled reboot of Roseanne was the most-watched TV series in 2018, according to new figures from Nielsen. NPR TV critic Eric Deggans says the year-end list shows sports, especially football, also drew some big audiences.
The first episode of ABC's Roseanne reboot in March drew more than 27 million viewers, fueled by controversy over Roseanne Connor's emergence as a Trump supporter who argued with her sister Jackie about Hillary Clinton.
And Jackie thinks every girl should grow up and be president, even if they're a liar, pantsuit on fire.
The series drew an average of nearly 20 million viewers, followed by NBC's Sunday Night Football and CBS shows The Big Bang Theory and NCIS. But ABC canceled the sitcom after star Roseanne Barr sent a racist tweet. The Super Bowl was the most watched episode of television with 104 million viewers. In fact, sports telecasts were 7 of the 10 most watched episodes, including the Winter Olympics opening. Eric Deggans, NPR News.
Google now says it intends to spend as much as $1 billion to further expand its existing operations in New York. Google's parent company Alphabet, in a blog post announcing plans to create a more than 1.7 million square foot campus. I'm Jack Speer, NPR News in Washington.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, and I'm talking to Julie Griffin. What we were talking about during this break happened to be the cats. I have 5 of them right here with me. But as you guys all know, I always have a cat at my show. Not to mention these 5, but I always have one in the background that's always right here with me. So it's always nice to have my cats with me. And apparently Julie conjured her cat up at the same time. She was going, my cat's not here, and now suddenly it is. So see what we did? Brought them cats all to the show. So if you guys hear any kitty cat snoring, there's 2 cats near my mic, just laying here. Okay, guys? So no demons here tonight. Well, at least not right now. They're
Yes.
they're behaving too well to be demon cats right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we were also talking about when we went off, we were talking about Gettysburg and things like that. One of the things that wanted you guys to do is, if you wanted to go out there to the website ghostlyphotographs.com, scroll down a little bit. Julie's got a bunch of her pictures out there that you guys can look at and ask questions about. She's got some unusual anomalies that are caught in the pictures, so that you guys can ask about those. And one of them is this Gettysburg farmhouse picture. Looks like it's up on the second floor. What is that? There's an anomaly in this picture. It looks like a bright light during the day.
Yeah, that one is. Those are favorites. There's a series of 3, and it's calling it a mist is about the best thing I can call it. And if you look at it from one photo to the next, the shape changes. In one of them, it even wraps a little bit more around the post. And yes, these were up on the second level of the porch. But there's direct sunlight on them. You can see up at the roof line, you can see where the shadow is. These were taken at 11:30 in the morning.
Looks like somebody's standing there, kind of. I mean, with the height that it is, it looks like it would be the height of a person standing there. Not that I see a person, but that's about the height of somebody hanging around the pole.
Yes. Yeah, I would thoroughly agree with you. And if you look at them, they're not just white. There's a little bit of rainbow or iridescent color in them.
Yeah. I see a little
blue,
makes me
little
wonder.
Green,
little yellow.
Now that we know we can tell there is direct sunlight on this. Does that mean there's moisture in it? Are we getting, a rainbow or a prism effect from that? This is one of these where it simply leaves you with more questions than answers. And this is a series, these are just 3 photos. When I shot this location, I had more captures at this location. This is one of the stories in the book. And I believe there's 11 or 12 photos in the book. And this is one of 2 different anomalies. There's one that's more of a brown amber color. And that also shows up while I'm doing this in a 6-minute time period. I mean, I was there for a lot longer than that, but when they all happened, and when I came on the property, I knew that the house had recently been redone. All the stonework had been repointed. I think the movie, it was Gods and Generals, was shot on some of the property, so they have a lot of funds. It's the house belongs to one of the land trusts. And I'm just walking around the outside, and I love porches. I just have a thing for porches. I always have. And I'm walking around, and I'm talking. I'm just talking at the house. I really believe there was somebody up there or something up there. And I'm just telling him how beautiful the place is, how nice it all looks. I'm being a good guest. And I'm just basically talking to thin air to anybody else who might have come by. Nobody did. Nobody came around at all. But that's also part of what I do, is I will talk to whatever I think is there. You want to be a good house guest when you're visiting, because you are. And that's all part of it too. To say hello when you come in, to say that I'm here. When you're leaving, say goodbye, or at least wave, do something. That interaction, because they're there. And yes, you're going to find residual hauntings in some places, but a lot of it is intelligent. And when you come down to it, they were living, breathing humans just like us at one point. And it's amazing how much a little common courtesy can get you.
When I'm watching this picture change, I'm seeing part of the pole or the post disappear.
Yes, because the mist, I really don't have a better word for it. She is, and I believe this one's a she's wrapping around it. Her density has changed, and you can't see it as clearly. Yeah, they're. I love those photos. They're very unique. And to have all three makes it a really powerful series. Than to have just one photo where it's, I don't know, could be this, but where I've got it in all three. And I didn't know it was in that exact spot. When I was shooting, I'm shooting the entire side of the house in the original. You can see the full porch on the first floor, on the second floor. You can see the roof. I'm shooting a nice big shot. But that's also part of having something, with the higher megapixels and such. So you're able to go and crop it in and still have a relatively clear photo. But yeah, those are favorites, just because they're so unique. Mm-hmm. And I caught those in May of 2009. I've been doing this for 4 months when I caught those. And the group that I was learning with, they had this little trip down to Gettysburg. And I'd listened to a podcast and I'd heard about this location. So I went to check it out. And they weren't that interested. And I came back with these amazing photos, and let's just say they didn't have anywhere near the success that I did.
Oh, well. Tough tutus. That's their, good for you. Carl asks about your shutter speed.
Okay. The camera is on automatic everything. I let it do all the thinking. And every photo is an individual shot. I don't use burst. I know people that do. Again, it's a preference. And every photo is an individual press for each shot. And obviously, if it's daytime and things are nice and bright, the shots are going to be much closer together. If I'm shooting in a dark area and I'm using a flash, there's going to be a little more time, between it as the flash charges back up. But this is what I've done from the beginning. Everything, it's automatic everything. I let the camera do the thinking, and then I just focus on getting the shot.
Makes total sense to me.
I mean, it's amazing how well they can think for themselves, how they just know how long to go and have your shutter speed, all the different settings and such. So this is why I have done it this way, and I've never changed that when I'm out doing this type of photography. I let the camera do the thinking.
Well,
and it's worked out well for me.
Well, I'm glad it has, because if otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you.
And it's what I recommend anybody to do. You don't have to be highly technical. You really don't. Just take a lot of pictures.
So along with all this, so you're a paranormal photographer. Are you a photographer in your day job?
I can't. Well, I'd like to, but it's a tough field. So it's more. I've got to say, I'm more in the hobby. In the hobby area.
Yeah, it is a very competitive field, and it's very expensive.
Yes. It is once you get into a lot of some of the different lenses, the different types, and I've been very happy with what I shoot with. And I get some really beautiful results with what I shoot with, even though I don't have a really expensive camera. But this is what I'm happy doing. And that's just kind of how I approach it.
Good way to go. Gary asks if you use a tripod.
I do not. Everything is hand held. This way I can move